we are live. My name is Érika. For anyone that does not know me, I am Érika Kasev, and today I am going to be playing a little bit with Nomad on the PC. This is really not a secret, but Nomad is available to test, only to test, through any browser. If you copy this address right here, nomadsculpt.com/demo, this is the WebAssembly app. I want to say emulator that lets you test it on the computer. So I'm gonna be using my PC. I'm gonna be using an XP Pen display tablet, which I got right here. Ooh, pretty tablet. Look, put it on the camera. Yay! To play with Nomad. This is a limited thing, a limited demo. You cannot, for example, save stuff. Here it says it's a trial version, only a demo, unsaved changes. If I try to save, it's gonna let me save like here, but as soon as I refresh, it's gonna be deleted. Or if I try to export, also it's not gonna let me. So whatever I do right now, it's gonna be gone. And if you hear some noises in the background and bashing and stuff, that's Michael making a coffee. He uses an espresso machine, which makes the coffee making much more loud than the regular, I guess, instant coffees. But yeah, so what am I gonna be sculpting? I will be sculpting a skull. Let me bring it up. I'm gonna be using this approach to sculpt. Is it showing? I don't think it's showing on the screen. Give me a second. I will show it here. Thankfully, I did put the image right here. So, yay, just a skull. And I quite like this approach to the skull, this construction with very basic shapes, your basic primitives, because the skulls are quite terrifying to draw to everything. Sometime early in my career, I had a professor that told me that to really get good, I would have to draw a skull a day. It's something that I've tried to do. I have not succeeded actually doing it daily, but I try to do it as often as possible. And it's also good practice to do it when sculpting. So another reference that I'll be looking at, which you guys cannot look at all the time, is my dear friend Salvador Limones. That's my skull. Of course, this is a replica. It's made of plastic, but it's really good. It's real size. It can move its mouth.
Sure, it's not one of your exes?
Not one of my exes.
Or is it me in the future if I don't do the chores?
If you don't do the chores, you never do the chores. And Michael is here.
I'm here in the background. I don't work. Looks like I'm coming up okay on the audio, so that's me.
Yeah. If you cannot hear Michael and I'm just like having a conversation with nothing, let me know. Cause I don't want this to be super awkward. But let me have a real quick look at the comments. By the way, let me know where you are watching this from. I'm always excited to see all the places that you guys are watching the video from. And we have OV, hola! Yeah, it's really cool to have Nomad on the browser, even if it's not a full version. I think this is a great way to, like, for free get into 3D sculpting, and also you don't have to have an expensive iPad. We also have Vanessa. Hi Vanessa. Diane Parker. Hello. Welcome. Is it a Bluetooth connection? No, the XP Pen is connected through a USB-C cable. I don't know that it does Bluetooth.
Not this version.
Not this version.
I don't know if any of the versions do. Actually, does any tablet do Bluetooth?
I feel like maybe Wacom's can do wireless, like the little ones that we had.
Oh, you
May
mean the Intuo style ones? Yeah, any display tablet though.
Oh yeah, display tablet. I don't know if there's
I think
any.
that's probably a bit too much bandwidth. With
Yeah, you're likely to find some lag if you're doing that. Because you can do it with an iPad. I tried to test it through Wi-Fi to like mirror my PC to my iPad. Well, my Mac to my iPad, because with PC didn't quite work, and there was always an annoying lag. So I'll have a look if there's anything Bluetooth, but I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it because of that. You don't get the immediate response. OV is from Mexico City, yay! Un compadre! I am from Mexico City too, if anyone is wondering where my weird accent originates. Diane Parker is from NJ. I suppose that means New Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, New Jersey. San Diego, California.
Nice.
Ruin is from San Diego, California. James.
Have you been to San Diego?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I almost went when I was gonna go to Tijuana with my dad.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
But then he didn't go to Tijuana. He went to a convention place in the middle of the desert, close to Tijuana. But he was like, I don't know if I want to take my daughter there when this sounds suspicious and weird.
You should probably preface what your dad does.
My dad is a magician. My dad is a professional magician. So he goes to places to do shows. And he went to this weird convention place in the middle of the desert. And we thought it was close to Tijuana, so I was like, cool, I go to Tijuana and then San Diego, but then it wasn't. So he was like, no, I'm not gonna take you. So, yeah. I should probably start sculpting.
Also, just one more thing. Have you talked about who's sponsoring the stream?
Well, yes. Our sponsor for the last video and this stream is XP Pen. Up there, they are the really kind people that let us play with this thing. They just sent it to us and we're like, yeah, tell us what you think.
It's the XP Pen Artist
13 second generation.
How many times have we said that? And if you want to grab one, there is a on screen a discount code top right.
Yeah.
And also a link in the description to have a look at the product. The discount works, I think, until the end of the year. So if you want to pick one up, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
There you go. That's my ad read.
That's the ad read. It was an ad read.
But legitimately, it's a really good tablet.
Yeah, no, we actually quite like it. I am not keen on just grabbing products for free and be like, ooh, yeah, this is awesome. Like, I actually want to try good stuff. And we try all sorts of tablets, like really all sorts of tablets. And this was really nice. Just real quick before I actually start sculpting, I know you guys came here to see me sculpt, not to hear me talk about my weird parents' adventures. Let me see, Galaxy Gimbino. Hi. Yeah, I know. This is not really a super secret that there's Nomad on the browser, but there is. James has an XP pen and he loves it. Yes, they are really good. And Diane Parker is asking, what are the limitations? This is a demo, so it's kind of like the limitations of the trial, like when you get the light version on the iPad, but also import or export is not gonna work. It's gonna allow you to save in theory, but as soon as you refresh the browser, it's gonna be gone. Also, something worth noting here is that this is a beta version, so this is 1.71. The current version that is out is the 1.7, I believe. So you can test features that haven't been released here.
And another reason that we're actually doing this stream is that we're not affiliated with Nomad, but we like to try and influence them. So what we really want is Nomad on PC.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So we can both use it for work, because we use ZBrush, both of us, for work. But Érika prefers Nomad.
Yeah.
pretty much for most things. And I myself, I don't care either way. But if we can generate like an amount of people that want to use it, get them a little bit loud, the developer might be more inclined to make a PC version. I don't know, I'm sure it's not an easy proposition, but
Yeah, I'm sure that it's not easy, but if there's people interested, if there's potential clients, it's more likely to happen.
yeah, exactly. If 100,000 people are saying we want to buy it right now and it costs $20, and you're a developer, you're like, well, that's a lot of money, so you might do that.
Yeah. You'll see me that I am especially slow here. I'm not quite used to the navigation here. It's close to similar to ZBrush, but not quite. And it's not the usual, like I'm not with my other hand moving around the camera, so I am feeling quite awkward at the moment. But anyway, I'm always very slow in the streams because I'm talking and getting constantly distracted.
Speaking of distraction, Ruin just asked, have we tried the 24-inch XP pen? No, this is actually the first one that we have tried, which is the one that we've got. We've tried Huons, we've tried Wacoms. There's another brand that we've used. What's the other one?
Oh gosh, what's the other brand?
I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, we haven't tried the 24-inch, but if it's anything like this, I mean, I would say it's probably pretty solid.
Yeah.
24 inches is very big though.
It's quite large. What's the one that we have
22.
here? 22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a 22
I
inch.
may go into 24, but not bigger, because I've seen some ridiculously big tablets that like you have to like walk to the other side of the tablet. That's a bit too much for me.
Yeah. Thank you, OV, for the donation.
Oh, thank you very much, compadre. Muchas gracias. Really appreciate it.
For the pesos.
Besitos. Yeah.
Hi, Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse, hello. It's good to see you here, man. For those that don't know Uncle Jesse, he is the guy to go to with anything that's 3D printing. He is amazing. He is very funny. And yes, Uncle Jesse, you can try Nomad on the PC and the browser through WebAssembly. It's kind of limited, but it's still fun. And it's great for people who don't have an iPad, who maybe don't want to get a new one if theirs is getting old. Though this is just a trial, a very limited version of Nomad. So anyway, I am blocking in the shapes of the skull, just to get some really basic thing. And I'm looking at my guy here, Salvador Limones, for reference. Just want to get the big masses. Anything that you're doing art-wise, I've always find, forget about detail when it's early on. Just get those nice shapes super early. And I'm gonna reduce this topology quite a bit so I can use the move tool and get a bit of that nice angle. I should probably have symmetry on. And forgive me if I am particularly slow here. It is quite awkward because it's a slightly different navigation. Similar to ZBrush, but not quite.
Not quite as esoteric.
Yeah. The thing is that I'm conditioned to ZBrush that is really weird to use. Like, nothing makes sense, but now I'm used to senseless. So, there you go. I'm kind of getting the yaw shape there. I need a little bit of tilt. If you want to do some kind of sculpting, just like a workout, let's say, some practice, skulls are really good. They are a pain because they're really difficult, but you can get really good as an artist doing that. Let's see. I need a bit more of mass in the skull. Yeah, that's starting to look more like Salvador.
Is this the new name
The new name?
for the skull?
Salvador, yeah.
Oh yes, because it's named after the Grim Fandango character.
Grim Fandango. Yeah. So there's this game, old game called Grim Fandango, which Michael had told me about for ages. And I finally played it, and it's very fun. It's kind of like Mexican themed, which is what got me to play it, because I love my country. And there's this revolutionary character, and it's Salvador Limones. So there you go. I have a skull and I named him Salvador Limones. I used to have another skull, but I left it in Mexico. And now my mom likes the skull very much and dresses it up and plays with it and uses it for her classes. So I was like, I'm not gonna take the skull away from my mom.
Mexicans and their skulls, eh?
It's funny because when I was young, she wouldn't let me buy clothing with skulls or anything, because she is a nice Christian woman, and she was like, no, that's not nice. That's celebrating dead. We're all about life. And I was like, well, that's fair. You are my mother. You are the one in charge here, so I will do what you tell me. And then later in my life, because I couldn't have skulls around, I got obsessed with skulls. And now she likes the skulls as well. So it's like, mother. Mother. But that's fine. Now I can buy as many skull replicas as I want.
I'm surprised we don't have a full skeleton in a closet somewhere.
Yeah. It would be cool. I would love to have a full skeleton. I am a nerd for anatomy. I'm gonna... I made a clone. I still feel like it's really awkward. For some reason, just having one hand on the keyboard instead of the screen is like really messing up with me. It's weird. But But I'm aware that I am constantly awkward, regardless of anything.
Just in life.
Just in life, yeah, basically. Alright, let's get that side. After I get all these messes, I'm basically just gonna do voxel merging and start detailing a tiny bit, but again, like, detail can be your enemy.
Oh man. Do you remember teaching?
What?
Just trying to tell students not to jump to detail.
Yeah, that was one of the things that you suffer the most when you are a teacher. I want to say that it's basic information. It's not that hard to comprehend. But to be fair, I did it as well a lot as a student. And I was told it, not to do that. But yeah, get your big masses, get the most important part. And in this case, when sculpting, you want to get the volumes right. You don't want the things to look too skinny, you don't want them to look too big. Are the masses complicated? Well, what's the simplest thing that you can do? Like, is it a cube? Is it a pyramid? I don't know, there's many things in which you can simplify. Let's try to use this. Ooh, lovely mirror. Now I have the two sides of the...
Keeping things simple is easy to understand, but difficult to apply, says one sketchy squirrel.
Sketchy squirrel! Yes.
Welcome.
I wonder why he knows that. Hi Joel. Happy to see you here.
Joel, I appreciate the fact that you're up before midday on a weekend at your age.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been at what, 19, 20?
Yeah.
18? How old are you, Joel? You're young.
He's a baby. He's super young.
A young man.
A young man. Also, if you guys don't know Sketchy Squirrel, you should really check out his
Go to
channel.
and subscribe immediately.
Immediately.
18. There you go. He's half my age.
Man, we are old.
I'm just going to move this mic up. Apologies in chat. I'm just going to move this microphone because it's slowly sinking. And it's going to make a couple of noises.
Noises. These are noises. I am hiding the noises with my voice. I don't know how effective this is.
Okay. It should maybe stay at that altitude for a little bit longer.
At that altitude. Sweet. Okay. I think this looks pretty decent for the base of the skull. I got my, of course, the cranial mass slightly wider towards the back. I got what is gonna be the area of the eyes, which is a bit of a mix of the orbital bone, the zygomatic. I will speak anatomy because I love anatomy. So this part and this part, a little bit I guess of the nasal bone as well, but all of this is being simplified with that cube. But this little bit, a lot of people forget it, and you can feel it on your face. This is actually a protrusion out, and it feels weird when we don't get that right on any kind of portrait, whether this is just a skull or whether you're actually doing a full face. Anyway, I also got the sides here. You might have noticed that I flattened a little bit the skull on this side, this part, because we have this flattened bit. You can also sort of see it here, the skull, how these sides are not quite round, but they're whoop. So those sort of things are really useful to be aware of. Honestly, if you are like, well, do I need to learn anatomy to be a good sculptor? Not really. You don't need to learn it. You can be a good sculptor. But if you want to be a great sculptor, you need to learn it. So what I'm gonna do now, I am gonna select everything here. I wish I had an outline. I really like to see outlines. There you go. I like that indication that something is selected. What am I gonna do next? I will voxel things. So I am gonna make this kinda big squares, enough to keep the shapes, but I don't want to give myself a ridiculous amount of topology. The more points there are, the more difficult they're to control. Imagine they are cats. You can deal with 2 or 3 cats, but can you control 17 cats? And here it was way too low. It's destroying my shapes. So I will go back. We gotta try to find a good amount. And I may need to do some preparation before to make this successful. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So this is maybe a bit too much. It's still getting destroyed. So I'm gonna validate all the shapes. And I am going to add multi-resolution, but that's not what I want.
What is validating the shapes do for an idiot like me?
Validating, it's like on ZBrush before you do the make to 3D, what is it called? You know, you make a shape, you click edit.
Oh, make polymesh 3D.
Make polymesh 3D.
Okay.
You know how you can still modify a bunch of the size, the divisions,
okay,
and all
so
that.
it's like it goes from being a polygon to a mesh.
Yeah. I kind of messed up something here. Now it's not letting me go back. It changed the size. That's a bit annoying. I need to redo this. Okay. Now for Nomad to give me slightly nicer result when I am doing voxel merge, what I need to do is to add resolution to this, but I don't want this to become a round blob. So when I add multi-resolution, I'm gonna tap on linear subdivision. And now it's adding more topology, but it's keeping the shape that I want, and I'm gonna make it slightly longer so I get that nice bone, the volume for that nice bone, this zygomatic thing on the side of the head. So there you go, and I will do this with all of them. This one is already round, so I don't really need to make it linear. Sometimes it gets a bit smaller when I subdivide. There you go. Here's another one. Validate and linear division, subdivide, subdivide. Oh, I need also to delete lower. I'm gonna key this many there. This one there, cool. This one too, linear subdivision, subdivide, subdivide, subdivide. Delete lower. And one more time, subdivide, subdivide. I need to change a little this size. Subdivide, subdivide, subdivide. And delete lower. So we got quite a bit of resolution, but our basic shapes are unchanged. And for some reason, Nomad likes this better when we try to do voxel merge.
Diane Parker has spent the last week learning sculpting in Blender.
Oh, how do you like it, Diane? As you guys may have seen on the video that I make, I wasn't a big fan, but I'm not saying that it's a bad tool. Sketchy Squirrel does quite a bit of sculpting in Blender, actually. And he is quite good at it. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted with the sculpt. I haven't quite been looking at the comments, but we have dear Michael here helping me out with that.
Yeah, I'm in chat if you're wondering who's typing.
Okay, let me try that voxel remesh again. It's slightly nicer. It does destroy some of the shapes, and that is kind of like the nature of the remesh, because it's not gonna know where to put the lines. Like if I undo, we have this nice line right here, this nice line here, like it's all flowing. The topology, there's like lines where I have corners, but when I remesh, it doesn't necessarily know where to put it. So that's the nature of it. If you, for example, use ZBrush, there's like smarter tools that will recognize where to put those lines specifically. Maybe we'll see that sometime in Nomad. I don't know. At the moment, that seems to be a well kept secret that belongs to Maxon, I guess, because they own ZBrush. I'm just gonna go a tad bigger. I really don't want to go super high on my poly count. This might be good if you're not sure if this is gonna work nicely. One thing that you can test is smoothing. You want to make sure that at this stage it's easy to soften things like these bumps that I see here. If smoothing takes a while, if you had to go a lot of times or you had to set the intensity super high, then you might need to go lower. And this...
In ZBrush, can you edit isopalms? I don't know what isopalms are. Is that a Nomad thing?
No, isopalms, I think that has to do with NURBS.
Oh, okay. There's no NURBS in ZBrush to my knowledge, or at least I've never discovered them in the last 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I haven't used isopalms since I was in school ages ago. I remember I thought it was a funny word, but yeah, like all I remember is that it had to do with curves. That then we would turn into polygons. So yeah, I may have like a very limited answer for you here, because my understanding of them is quite limited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even touch that sort of stuff in my line of work, and it's kind of within the realms of what I would do.
Yeah. All right. What am I gonna do here? I may soften a little bit. I may go around and yeah, just soften a little bit. Why is it not giving me symmetry? This feels weird. It's turned on, but it's not doing it. if you ever encounter that, probably the best thing to do is to mirror your... yeah, the symmetry is all over the place. It's meant to be local. Putting it to world seems to have changed. I'm still gonna mirror this, so whatever is in one side is gonna be made on the other.
Have you done a tutorial on the interface of Nomad recently?
Not recently. I probably should.
That should go into that tutorial that we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah. That would definitely cover it.
Hopefully that could come out maybe in the next week or two.
Yeah, I was. It was my plan to work on it this week. Okay, so I'm softening stuff. I don't really need extremely harsh corners, because in reality there's very few super harsh shapes there which are more detailed, so I'm gonna focus on later. And right now what I want to do is to get some of the negative space, for example where the eyes are gonna be, the space for the nose, maybe a little bit of this bits, this hollow bits from the sides. What's up? Can I model a cow? Is that what you're laughing at?
That's Diego from work.
Oh, hi Diego! Nice to meet you! Michael has told me a lot about you.
Yeah. The cow thing is because of a project I was working on.
Right. He told me he was... You say you were animating cows?
No, not really. It's been a long suffering ordeal, I'll put it that way.
Well, nice to meet you, Diego. You're free to come over anytime. And especially if you bring your cat. Alright, it is time for some spheres, which are gonna become the eyes. Well, not the eyes, the orbits. Okay, I am going to squeeze this a little bit. Ah, come on. I still feel super clunky. Like just rotating the camera. It's a bit annoying. And then it's gonna be even worse when I go back to ZBrush or even Maya and try to navigate, and I'm just gonna be broken. I gotta say, that's another thing that I got annoyed at with Blender. The navigation. Was it the navigation of the camera? No, not the navigation, some hotkeys. Some hotkeys were very different from ZBrush, or like what is kind of like the standard. And like when you are sculpting, you can add or you can decrease. In ZBrush, the standard is you press Alt, and I'm pretty sure in Nomad is the same. In fact, I'm gonna test it right now. I add and I press Alt, and yeah, so that's the same as ZBrush. You can of course change this, but on Blender it's Control. So I changed my mindset into, okay, I guess I'm gonna do this now. And then I finished that project and I went back to ZBrush because it's part of what I do for work, freelance, on my full-time job, I guess. And my mind was just broken. It just broke my shortcuts. And that means that I get slower and I feel annoyed in life.
Swapping between software and switching hotkeys is the bane of our existence.
I mean, I know that that happens all the time. Like, I'm working on Photoshop, then I move into Substance Painter, and the brush shortcut changes from B to 1. Like, that is gonna happen regardless of anything. That is always going to happen.
Or if you use, for me recently, it's been using Photoshop and then jumping into any CAD or 3D software and being like, selection tool, V, no, Q. And then you go back to Photoshop and you hit Q to select and it masks everything. You're like, ah! Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that happens all the time, but you kind of want to avoid it because it is a waste of time. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I will possibly continue complaining about Blender. Which is weird because I really like Blender for box modeling. I prefer it from Maya. And I'm stuck with Maya at work.
I mean, technically you're not, are you? You're not as stuck as I am.
Yeah. And it's the worst Maya. It's Maya LT. Oh, I should probably turn on perspective.
Can you set your gizmo to be locked to like incremental rotations, like degrees?
Yes, you can. So here I will solo this. So Gizmo's here. I'm gonna turn off that photo so it's also easier to see. Okay. Here on the side we have this snap icon, and if I tap there, it gives me a number, so in this case 90. So as long as this is turned on, this is gonna rotate in increments of 90 degrees. I use this all the time, absolutely recommend that. Now we also have a move snap now, so I can set the increments of how this is moving. Right now this is set to 0.1, so I believe this is based on the grid. If I turn this on, my grid is kind of far away. Somewhere there. Oh yeah, you can see how it's moving between the squares. 1, 2, 3. Whereas if I turn it off, I can put it in between. So these two very useful things. I definitely recommend you use this when you are sculpting, so you have certain control. And I am going to continue mirroring this. And I want to, oh no, I actually don't want snap for this specific thing. I want to get like the shape of the nose there. I don't know how successful this is gonna be. And also, in case anyone has just logged in and are wondering about Nomad on the PC, this is a limited version, this is a trial, so anything that I do is gonna be lost. So I didn't want to do something that I would necessarily was gonna regret losing. I did a skull. Skulls are good practice. I never regret sculpting a skull. Alright, so now I'm gonna turn off these things. I probably need to validate them, so I will do that. Actually, I'm gonna turn them on again. I'm gonna validate the shape and the modifier, so the sphere and the mirror, so I cannot move them anymore. I am committed to this. Now I will hide them, I will select everything, and I will voxel, and anything that is hidden is gonna become a Boolean, so that shape is gonna be taken out of the big shape. Let's keep this merge similar. Oh, is it only gonna let me do one Boolean at a time? Maybe. Let me check. What am I doing? What happened to these eyes? Let's try again. Also, you may encounter bugs here because this is a beta version. This is not the one that has been released. So yeah, we might encounter that. I hope it lets me do it, otherwise I'll have to try something else. You and you. Eyes. No! Okay, you and you. No, I'm still selecting the wrong stuff. Forgive me. Okay, you, I want to see you. Okay. Alright, I think I got it. Let's see. Voxel, yeah, it took me ages, but I guess it's got some kind of eyes now, orbit. Okay, I'm gonna do the same. Hidden mesh, this is gonna become the hole. Actually, I'm not sure if I want to hide that necessarily. I apologize if this is confusing. I am constantly confused in life.
How's the performance on the browser version on that computer?
So far, it's been quite nice.
No
Nothing.
Difference between that and the iPad, or noticeable difference, or none?
No noticeable difference that I can tell. Yeah, no, it's
OV just asked if you know if the performance is related to the browser or the WebAssembly server. My assumption would be that they're not doing the calculation server side, because it would just be too much overhead in terms of like cost. So I think it just downloads, and I think you see it actually when it loads, downloads like a little temporary version into the browser. But I don't really know much about that sort of more technical sort of software type stuff like that. But my assumption is that it's running all those calculations and stuff local. So if it's not running well, it's possibly the browser / computer. We're using Brave, the browser in this case, which is a Android style browser. If you don't know it, it's very similar to Chrome. It's a little bit less bloaty than Chrome. So if you want to try something different to Chrome, that's a good one. So yeah, I think that's probably the reason, if anyone's having any issues with it and they've got a reasonably spec'd computer. Now Érika's using my computer because it's just what we've got set up at the moment. And my computer is like pretty high end, if we're being honest. So
it is.
We would probably hope that there wasn't any performance issues with it.
There's just a couple weird stuff that is happening, but I don't know if I would call it performance issues. I feel like that's more to do with possible bugs that the program is looking at. Like symmetry is weird, like local, like it's not really recognizing properly what is local and what is not. And if you see that I am very slow here, that's because I'm just weirded out by the navigation that is slightly different. I guess that I'm using a keyboard and I'm not used to use a keyboard with Nomad. And the camera rotation is not quite the same as I'm used to with ZBrush. So that's kind of like messing with me. But anyway, I decided to the nose first, just get the mask before trying to get the hole. So I did that. I might just carve it by hand. So I will voxel these two things. And I guess from there I might start to make it look more like an actual skull. Yeah, that looks kind of okay. It doesn't have to look really pretty right now. I just want to have my masses, my main volumes. Oh, this is really strong intensity. Alright, now I'm gonna do something that I learned that is a major sin in Blender, but that I'm used to do all the time here in Nomad. I'm gonna take this voxelized mesh and I'm gonna add multi-resolution to it. If you do this in Blender, it just breaks. Like it just starts lagging horribly, and yeah, it's not a good time. But I do this all the time in Nomad and ZBrush, because I can have a slightly lower resolution. I know it's not super low, but this is lowish, let's say. And I can have more levels in which I can add detail, but if I'm like, oh no, I messed up this big shape, I can go back. So that helps me a lot.
Is the reason that it struggles in Blender because it's actual true 3D and not 2.5D?
That could be it, yeah.
I reckon that's probably the reason, because Blender and Nomad and ZBrush are 2.5D. So what that means is you're not really looking at a three-dimensional object, in the sense that, say for instance, if you wanted to move the camera inside one of those eye sockets, you can't. You can only zoom close and closer, but never actually have the camera inside the mesh, if that makes sense. It just makes it fast for the computer to calculate and render things before it outputs a proper 3D model for whatever else. So that's probably the reason I would guess that Blender struggles with multi-resolution, because it's actually creating millions of poly models, which no software does well in true 3D.
Yeah. That is a very good point. That all of that makes a lot of sense. I guess
I could be wrong. Could be 2.5D and just not be performant. I don't know.
I mean, it seems to be, for what I was reading, a bit of a thing with Blender. Like there's quite a bit of videos on how to optimize it, like how to get rid of lag.
Yeah.
So there might be more to it. And I'm realizing that in my sculpt I totally lost the shape that I had for the tooth cylinder, which is very annoying because this is a major shape. Where did I mess up? I don't know, but I'll try to get it back. Now the tooth cylinder, I'll show you with Salvador. Look at this shape, poop, coming out there, whoop. Like if we had, I started there with cylinder, but it was not a straight cylinder. I kind of like made it fatter on the middle because I like to think this as a bloated tuna can. It totally came up with that analogy. I did not steal it from the Proco channel, which is a great place where you can learn anatomy. But now if you look at my sculpt, this is flat, so I don't want that. I want to get my bloated tuna can, so I'm gonna try to rescue it here. I gotta say that I'm finding weird the intensity. I'm having to really push it low or it just goes real crazy. Let me get rid of...
That could be the sensitivity on the tablet. You could turn it down.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your pen pressure gauge coming up, and it's going to about 50% on some of these pushes, and 30% you can see it there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's really intense.
I don't know, like you might want to turn it to be softer. You could pull that down and show them the app.
Yeah, I will do that.
So yeah, so that's the interface for the XP pen. And what have you set up for to use this for people that need to do it on PC?
I only set up the top button of the pen, so the pen has two things. One of them I set it to middle click. Actually, I don't think that's showing on OBS.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah,
oh, it's
no.
because you're not screen capturing. Sorry.
You only did the browser capture.
Yeah, you could. add
Okay,
it.
let me window capture.
Okay, that's my default one.
Sorry guys, sorry. Just a second, that's not it. Where the hell are you? It doesn't want to show it.
Yeah, do this. Okay, that display's not.
It's really not doing what we want.
Okay, no, can't work.
I guess we can show you that.
Alright. Sorry. Well, you can set the top button to be middle mouse, is what we were getting at.
Yeah, you can set that, or you can change the pressure sensitivity, so which is what I'm gonna do right now. Let me see. Oh yeah, more like that. I always encourage people to play with the settings because we may work differently. Some people have very heavy hands, or for some reason we put a lot of pressure into a tablet or into your sketchbook, so it's worth knowing what your tendencies are to avoid any kind of injury, because you may also like just damage the tablet if you put a lot of pressure, and you probably don't want to do that because they are not cheap. And you know, also you don't want to damage your body because the body is not cheap to fix either, and sometimes it's unfixable. So yeah, don't fight the tools. Don't make the tools the tools are not in control. You are in control, if that makes any sense. Okay, so now I can start modifying this a little bit more. And right now I really feel like I am not in control of the tool, if I'm honest. This is not looking anywhere as I would like it to be looking at the moment, but this is the joy of seeing the live stream. You see me mess up, you see me constantly be confused and redo. I cannot edit out as I usually do. This is not easy, guys, but if you feel like you're suffering, don't worry, you're not the only one suffering. I am always suffering. Not really, not always suffering.
That's what passion means. That's the literal definition of passion, is suffering. So
is it?
Yeah, if you're passionate about something, it means that you suffer for it.
I suffer for it. I must be passionate for you.
Okay.
This symmetry is really messing with me. For some reason, when I set it to local, it's just like all over the place. Is it? No, because if I set it to world, I don't know why symmetry is so messed up.
Could be a beta problem.
Yeah, it must be.
Just keep it on world.
Yeah, but I think I have to change it per tool, which makes it really annoying. Now for this back of the skull, I'm not gonna really go super detailed. I don't think I'm gonna even carve out the hollow here, which I was thinking about, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna focus like on the main thing. It's kind of like in a drawing when you are making a portrait, and maybe the portrait has one ear really visible and the other one, it's like you can barely see a little bit of the silhouette. You want to put more emphasis on what is more important, on what you can see the most, or the same, the eyes. If I am like this, you see this eye a bit more, this one not so much, is hidden. So I'm gonna put all my effort into rendering nicely, working beautifully this eye. This not so much, because it's not as important. Kind of the same here. This is not really an area that I want to spend much time on, because it's not visible, or it's barely gonna be visible. So yeah, that's my lovely explanation. I'm sure it makes no sense.
For a novice sculptor, would you recommend starting with the planes of the face or an actual skull for facial anatomy practice?
I would say try both. It is worth knowing the skull, knowing the masses, just knowing all the bones, especially your favorite word, the subcutaneous bones. What does subcutaneous means? These are bones that are just covered by a tiny bit of skin. For instance, here, this part of the zygomatic bone, if I tap my face, I feel it right away. But that's not the same as maybe this part. If I tap that part of the face, I feel flesh, I feel soft tissue. So this is not subcutaneous, this is subcutaneous. What are those important? Because you can see them on all the faces. Those are your landmarks. It doesn't matter the ethnicity, the age, the gender, you always will find those. So those are your keys to get likeness, to get everything. So if you know that, then the planes of the face will make a lot more sense, because it's not just gonna be like, okay, I guess this is a plane and now it breaks for no reason. Oh, no, there's a reason. That's because if we have a plane going up here, that is a combination of the zygomatic with the temple, and the break ends where the zygomatic is, which is at the bottom of the lobe, not the lobe, the orbit, just down there. And then you know, like, oh, there's another plane here, which is a combination of connecting like this to here with all the soft tissue that goes around here. That might get rounder. If we're really simplifying it, you're gonna do it like just completely flat. So I think it's studying both at the same time. It's quite worth it. Sometimes I find drawing the skull alone a bit boring. I don't know, just like a full face feels more interesting. So also just to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself engaged, that's why I think it's worth having a look at both. Hopefully that helps. By no means I have the final thing. Like, just experiment, just sculpt. Try to find what works for you. Maybe you'll find, hey, I'm doing lots of skulls and nothing else, and that is perfect for me. Then great. Not every approach works for everyone. And if there's something that you guys found that, hey, doing this sort of studies was really useful for me, I would love to hear about it. I am always learning. By no means I am an expert. I've got heaps to learn. The more I learn, the more I realize that I know nothing in life. And I am a silly Billy. Okay, it's trying to get a bit more detail masses here. I'm not inventing this. I'm looking at my good old reference, Salvador Limones.
Just while you're sculpting there, Érika, do you ever find that the smooth function on Blender to be a bit soft or weak compared to, say, Blender? I think I know the answer to this, but someone in chat is asking.
Yeah, I guess that I found that Smooth didn't quite do what I was expecting it to do.
In Blender or no?
I'm trying to think, because I'm now like getting confused between ZBrush, Blender, and Nomad. No, I think maybe Blender was way too strong.
For
and it
you.
was hard, yeah, for me. Like, it would destroy anything that I was doing, and it was hard to get to the right setting.
So that might mean that, because who was it? Piano at 30 is experiencing the opposite of you. So they are obviously more inclined to the way that Blender works. So it might just be sort of like what you sort of are used to. But if you go to a lower resolution, smoothing will always be more powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's interpolating between a lower vertice count, so it's able to crush them a little bit quicker. So that is one option. I don't know how quick and easy that is in Nomad, and it also depends on your workflow as well. Like, that's for me in ZBrush, that's how I would work. Like low resolution up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, which is kind of what I'm doing here. So I have multi-resolution here, and I will show you. I'm gonna go to a higher resolution level, and I'm gonna make, let me reset that tool here, and I'm gonna make like a detail thing there. Let's imagine that's detail. And I want to smooth it because it's like, hey, I don't want this anymore, I'm gonna get rid of it. So with smooth I could go around, but I have a lot of points there, so smoothing is making an average. If I have 2 points like this, smoothing is gonna do whoop this. But if I have many points, it's a lot of information. So maybe I'm thinking I want to get here, but all that information only gets me like very little. So I reduce my topology. See, I was here, I go here, and I try smoothing. Let me turn that up so you can see it better. And I start to get a better result. It's starting to do more stuff. Let me undo. And I'm gonna go back to the lowest setting. Here, I was here. Now I go here, way less information. And I smooth. And I can get there much faster. In Nomad, I quite like that you have the intensity slider, which is infinite, even though it says percentage. You can go really high. This is kind of like the smooth, strong on ZBrush. And you can make a ridiculously powerful smoothing tool. So that is worth knowing. if you feel like smoothing is weak in Nomad, just really push it up. Go the intensity, go hard. Percentage is not the limitation. You can go farther than 100.
1,000,000% smoothing.
1
Smooth
million
it down
percent.
to a singularity.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Yeah. If anyone has just joined us, welcome. I am testing here Nomad on a PC through the browser. You can go to this browser. This is not really much of a secret. This is where you can test the beta version. So I'm right now on 1.71. The last release was 1.7.
And you're using the...
I am using the XP Pen Artist 13 second generation. Thank you, XP Pen, for sending us this lovely tablet.
Check him out, link in the description, and if you want a discount, the discount code's on screen, top right.
Yeah, over there. Hi, discount code. Yeah, I really like it, and if I think this is especially a good recommendations for students. Like if you're going to school and like you are using the computers that you have at school, and some schools don't have the budget for display tablets, so they might give you like a Wacom Intuos or something like that, which are not bad, but it's always nicer to sculpt on a screen. So this is a really good tablet. The cost is very accessible compared to many other tablets, compared to the well-known competition.
Funnily enough, I would say it's not too much of a departure from the price of like an Intuos to get a display tablet rather than having like a non-display tablet.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this the other day. The difference nowadays in cost, like getting a display tablet, is insane. When I got way back there, and you used to have it as well, the before me and Érika were married, here's a story.
Yeah.
I had a Wacom, what was it, 12WX?
Yeah.
The 12-inch display tablet, and I bought it second hand when I was living in Australia, and I think it was like $500 or $600 second hand. And like now a new tablet is a new display tablet. It's a larger display than what I used to have, and it's like $300 US for a brand new one. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the 12WX you actually ended up using for a number of years.
Yeah.
You inherited it from me. Well, actually, you inherited it from Carolyn, who I gave it to, and then she gave it to you because she started using iPad.
Yeah, that was quite nice. Like with a group of friends to exchange hardware.
Internationally, it lived in 3 different countries.
Yeah.
It started in Australia, and then it went to the US, and then it went to Mexico.
Yeah, if you have that chance, maybe you are upgrading your tablet and you know someone that could use your old hardware, share it. Be nice to people. That niceness will come back to you. If someone is nice to you and you cannot repay them, it's like then you might have in the future an opportunity to do the same nice thing for someone else.
See, I gave, well, ultimately I gave it to you, but technically I didn't. The Cintiq, and now we're married. So see how that works?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you never know what.
I repaid your kindness by marrying you.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate gift.
That was the ultimate price.
Okay, says piano. He is playing. Oh, sorry. No, that's the right pronoun. I'm playing with piano on the browser, middle mouse button, pans view. But what do you use to rotate around? It's just regular click, left click. Yeah, that is what's getting me. That's one of the reasons why I'm getting like really like messed up. Yeah, just tap the window and rotate, which is annoying because the same thing, if you tap on the mesh, you're gonna sculpt, and I don't know how that is gonna behave if I'm like really zoomed in.
Yeah, like can you get outside of the, because in ZBrush can you scroll?
This?
No, can you like scroll on the mouse? mouse wheel?
Yeah, I can use a mouse wheel. But
So that would be if you could hotkey that I mean, if your tablet it supports it, I think you could put scroll onto one of the hotkeys on the tablet as well. So that's if you're using a tablet that has what do you call it? Express keys.
Express keys.
Like the XP Pen Artist 13 Generation 2. Is that the correct name?
Yes.
Has express keys, so you could bind those to your scroll, or you could just use the scroll wheel on your mouse. That's the other alternative. So yeah, there is differences obviously. In ZBrush, if you're very zoomed in, there's like a buffer on the outside of the window which you can use to navigate without
like
actually
a
interacting.
safe area.
Yeah. So that's what I would be doing there.
Oh my god, I'm still pressing Control to instead of Alt.
And for Shinja Blade, this is in the browser, web version of Nomad. Did you put a link somewhere for this?
It's on the description.
Okay, link in the description if you want to get to this. It's Nomad. It's visible on screen actually.
Nomadsculpt.com/demo.
And basically it is the beta version of Nomad, the advanced version. So you'll see some features that aren't in the current version on the iPad, but you can't like save beyond your current session and you can't export. So we're just sort of demoing it here to show you what it's like to use it with a display tablet like the one that we're using from XP Pen. And Érika's just sculpting a very sculpty sculpt.
Sculpty sculpt. I am sculpting Salvador Limones, my friend right here. Woo, really good workout. Since I cannot save this sculpt, since it's gonna be lost, I didn't wanna do something that was gonna hurt my soul too lose. So sculpts, they're great practice. Recommended. If you wanna be a great artist, get into anatomy, get to know the skulls well, be their friends. Just like Mexicans are friends with the skulls.
How long would you recommend someone spends on a sculpt of a skull if you're doing it sort of daily?
If you're actually doing it daily, probably between half an hour and an hour. Just see how good you can get it in that time. Just accept the result. The next time you do it, it's gonna be better, it's gonna be better, it's gonna be better. But yeah, don't get obsessed trying to get a nice looking thing because the skulls are bloody difficult.
So bearing that in mind, how much longer are you going to spend on this one?
Oh yeah, I've been already here like an hour. Should we...
Probably aim for like 11:30.
Yeah, let's go for 11:30. So we can hang out, guys, a bit more.
So 20 more minutes. Every time you talk to me, don't stop sculpting.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the feel is a little bit like the behavior is not quite what I'm used to on the iPad. It's not bad. I still quite like it, but some things feel a little bit weird. And to be honest, I'm not loving how this is looking so far, but that's the thing with the skull today. With
is
the
the
skull
symmetry
today.
broken? Left to right? On the jawline?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, the symmetry has been really weird here. And like even I have already masked the thing.
Yeah, it could like we've been saying, this is the beta version, so and there's probably some eccentricities to it. So don't expect it to be exactly like what you're used to in on the iPad if that's what you've been using. But like we've been saying, we really want to see it on PC.
Yeah, so we want to make a revolution.
Yeah.
We want
So to
everyone to be really loud about, hey, we want Nomad on the PC. Here's our money, if you can afford it, of course. Please add it on the PC. And if there's interest, if there's enough people being vocal about it.
Yeah. Also, don't get bought out by a major corporation. That's the other thing that we'd love for
God, yes.
for Nomad.
Yeah, please don't.
Please don't sell to a major corporation so we have to pay another subscription fee.
Yeah, God. God. Alright, so something is starting to happen here, which is limiting what I can do, is this is stretched polygons. In general, I want to see polygons that look square like this. This is starting to look like a kite. This is not great. So this is a good indication that I need to get a new voxel version. So I need to recalculate this topology. Even if I add multi-resolution, this is still stretched. They were just divided, but they're still stretched. So this is why I prefer my voxel. And I may not change this, I may keep it around the same. We'll see how it looks. If needed, I will go higher, but not necessarily. Oh God, this jaw got all weird. I'm just gonna smooth that. Let's do flatten a touch. Alright. Voxel, oh, there you go. Now we don't have that weird stretchy voice. And I will, why not, add my extra subdivision for when I can start a bit of extra detail. Alright. I am gonna use, Flatten is one of my favorite tools. So before we were talking about the planes of the head, for anyone unfamiliar with that, that is like a representation of the human face with planes, with flat surfaces. So my cheeks, you can see they're roundy things. In the planes of the head, this would be like flush. And every time like the skin turns around, that would be like a corner. In general, that is recommended when you are learning anatomy, when you're learning things, because it's easier to draw a cube than it is to draw a round shape, organic sphere-like shape. So thinking in planes just makes life easier, not necessarily for everyone, but it's a nice method that you can use. So what I want to try to get now is some of those flat surfaces, some of those flat planes. For example, here I want to flatten a little bit the zygomatic. I want to flatten a little bit the temples of the head.
You're not going to see anything in chat. In chat, it's kind of gone off the rails a little bit there.
Oh God, what are you doing?
Just
should I be worried?
No, puns got a little bit crazy.
Oh, I am very slow at getting puns, guys, and I will apologize for that. That's just my Spanish-speaking brain takes sometimes a little while to process. So Michael will get the puns, and I will.
And then I will explain them to you.
And then you will explain them to me. Yes.
I feel like that happened last night.
Yeah, that probably happened last night. It happened. You made recently 2 puns with the word lion.
Lion, yeah, lying in bed and lying.
And lying.
As in not telling the truth.
And I was like, what the hell are you saying? I was like, why are you confusing me, man? Sorry if I get silent for a second. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need to get the shape. Why is the shape not there?
Hope all the people in the northern hemisphere are enjoying their winter, where we are stuck in the bowels of summer. Well, the very start of summer, I guess, as a very loud car goes by.
Yeah, they are also complaining about the weather.
Jeez Louise, mate, calm down. What are we in here, like 20 something degrees today in Celsius? I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I don't know Fahrenheit, guys, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're 20 something, which...
Warm.
Yeah.
It's warm for us because we've gotten so used to cold weather here.
I miss snowboarding.
Yeah, we're desperately missing snowboarding. Though, I guess the heat is nice for like sitting outside.
Yeah. Having nice drinks.
68 Fahrenheit. Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
I don't know if that's warm for you guys. It's warm for us. because we've been living, in very low down in the southern hemisphere, where it snows during winter.
But also, it's not crazy cold.
It's not crazy cold. It only gets down
It's
to be
pretty
about,
decent cold, because don't forget that I'm Mexican. I am made for the warmth.
Yeah.
I literally was told by the doctor, you need to take the sun more. Because I started getting a vitamin D deficiency, which is the vitamin that you get from the sun.
So it's not that cold here in winter, though.
It's cold enough that we get snowboarding.
It's cold enough that we can go to our local snowboarding area and snowboard.
And be really happy.
Yeah.
Because the snowboarding is awesome. It can be really painful.
Oh, yeah, I could tell you a few stories. You could tell a few stories, but not as bad as mine.
No, not as bad as yours, but it was very painful. I had my very first season. I had never snowboarded before. And I was like, alright, I'm gonna commit, I'm gonna learn it. And I did. I went from being a baby beginner that is like, just lighting, like don't know what this is happening, into going into advanced runs. At least one advanced run. But it was very painful. I'm not gonna lie. I was bruised. I was just like some points like really close to tears between frustration and pain. But I learned, and the frustration was worth it. Because as frustrating as it can be, it's so rewarding. Like the feeling it's just so magical.
And just like all things in life, here you go, here's art, relating it back to art. The more experiences you have, the better more rounded an artist in person you can become. There you go, that's my the more you know thing for the day.
Sure.
I've been talking to Érika a lot about like expanding your the way you think about art and through different mediums. So
through different mediums, yeah.
Like anything, gardening.
Think of it like making metaphors.
Yeah.
About things.
And then once you learn something in a different medium, like, oh, this is like doing this thing in art, and then you kind of start to understand both things better. So for me, I've been a musician for 20 years, and so I write a lot of music. So thinking about composition in terms of animation is actually quite useful. Storytelling, a lot of crossover there. So
yeah.
Snowboarding, like a lot of the things you learn about snowboarding, persistency, controlling your fears, are things that you can apply broadly across other fields as well. So
yeah,
it's an interesting concept that the more I think about it, the more it sort of helps other mediums in life.
Yeah, I've been reading about magic, magicians. It's a very interesting book. This is a book about how magicians think. So it's not a book about how you do a trick or this or that. No, it's like short essays. Is by Joshua J. And it's like just questions that you might ask a magician, like why do magicians don't repeat the trick twice? But it's quite interesting because this is a guy that is really, really committed to his craft. So it's very interesting to hear someone, read someone talking about the amount of practice that he puts into his craft, the discipline, the obsession, and it's like, it feels kind of like reading from other artists. It's kind of like our craft, the same passion that we put our craft. I was telling Michael, it kind of feels like reading the books Drawn to Life or Ron Husband. What's the book? I got it right there. Quick Sketching by Ron Husband. It's not so much a book that's telling you how to do things, but it's kind of like the mentality, the passion on how you do things and how you're kind of like always thinking about it. Even if you're not doing it, I may not be drawing all the time, but I am thinking about shapes. I'm kind of like studying things. I am thinking about how would I approach this? Or like, oh, look, that's a very nice gesture. Or look at this lovely volume. I would maybe create this and that in Nomad. And again, this is similar of what I would do if I was snowboarding. I may not be snowboarding, but I am thinking how I will start turning around, how I will approach a specific thing. I don't know, something about thinking in multiple disciplines, or analyzing without necessarily doing the thing, or analyzing before doing the thing can be quite useful. And I think I'm starting to ramble without no much point.
I stopped listening.
He always does. He always does. And that's why I became a teacher. So students are forced to listen to me or they fail.
Oh, you're not a teacher anymore though, so...
I'm not a teacher anymore, so now you have to listen to my rambling. But I can't fail you.
No, well, I'm married to you, so that was part and parcel with it.
It's kind of starting to look okay from the side, but not from the front. I think that's protruding way too much. The drag tool feels weird. It's kind of behaving unusually. Whoop. I just feel like I move it on the one side and then it looks dumb. Sort of. I'm gonna push the zygomatic bone here. Whoop, whoop. Meh. Don't love it.
You know what's a good thing about this version of Nomad is that because it's impermanent, you're like forced to kill your darlings. So to speak.
Kill your darlings. Yeah.
Yeah. So all this time that you've spent working on the sculpt, it is just for the physical practice of doing the thing, rather than having the permanent reward of the thing that you can look at and being like, oh yeah, on the 4th of December 2022, this was the skull I did.
Yeah,
and you can't put it on Instagram. I guess you technically could if you screenshot it or something.
I could screenshot it.
But like, you know,
the model is gonna be lost.
The model is gone, and that's kind of cool, you know. I think that's kind of like a not being too married to these sorts of things is important.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, killing your darlings. I don't remember.
I feel like a lot of students are like, oh, I did this thing and I really want to use it. I'm like, yeah, it sucks though. Just let it go. Just delete it. Who cares? It's like, but I might want to use it later. I'm like, you're not. You're not going to think about that thing when you're on your deathbed. Oh, I wish I'd saved that terrible drawing or whatever. I'm like, just get rid of it. Do another one. Your next one will be better.
That's the thing. You are. If you want to be a professional artist, you gotta be able to repeat things. And sure, when you're a student, when you're just starting, you will not be able to do it. Like, you might get it once, but then the next one might not come right. But you want to become good enough that you are consistent getting things right. That is not an accident. You don't want accidents. If you get the one thing right by accident, but you don't know how you got there, then you haven't learned. You just had luck. You can't get lucky when you are an artist, because you have to deliver.
Yeah, your clients aren't paying you to be lucky. They're paying you to do the thing that you say you can do.
Yeah. So this sort of practice is really recommended. And sure, sometimes you will get frustrated. I get frustrated often. But...
And this isn't to say it's the same as losing work. Obviously losing work is a different thing if you're working on a project. But for practice, I don't think practice should be about the practice, not about the having a thing afterwards. Then it's not practice, it's production.
Yeah, I am getting lost here with my navigation, which is annoying me.
I'm seeing you hitting control a lot.
Yeah.
You meant to be?
I don't think so.
You're meant to be hitting alt.
Oh, I also have limited undos here. I didn't realize that.
Even better.
feel like I lost my zoom. What was zoom?
Scroll.
Yeah, but I don't want to change that. I want to just grab the mouse. Zooming camera is control. That's why I hit control. Now it's working, of course.
I think it's because you were on the mesh.
Possibly, yeah. So
Which
I got 5 more minutes.
So yeah,
And this is...
So if you've got any burning questions about snowboarding,
about snowboarding, about my father who's a magician. And if your question is, do I know how to do magic? The answer is no. I'm sorry, no.
you did a trick last night. That's not that you do know how to do some tricks, but you're not a master musician. You wouldn't say you're a magician.
No, it's like if your father is a neurosurgeon, it doesn't mean that the son, the daughters are or can also do the same skills. They may know things about it, but I don't really know how to do magic. But recently, possibly because I don't live with my dad anymore, now I'm like, ooh, maybe I should learn magic. Now I miss magic.
So, so Érika did a disappearing coin trick without saying that she was going to do it in front of me, and I was very impressed.
And I was very pleased that he was impressed.
So that made Érika's week, basically.
Yeah, it did.
So yeah, otherwise, again, thank you to XPPen for sponsoring this stream. And we appreciate that, and we really like the tablet, the XPPen Artist 13 Generation 2.
Yep.
If you would like to pick it up or something similar, check out the link in the description. Use the offer code, top right of the screen. We really recommend it. It's a really good tablet. Like, legitimately will be using it
Yeah.
continually from now on. In fact, once Érika gets off my computer and after we go out to buy a tomato plant,
Ooh,
I'll be
tomato
using it.
plant. Yep, it is absolutely worth it. So we're gonna finish up really soon. This is what I got done in an hour and a half. I don't love it, to be honest, but I need the practice. We all need the practice. It doesn't matter how much of a master you are, everyone needs practice, and you will find that the greatest people are constantly practicing. Don't be afraid to just do things that are gonna get lost, because it says Nomad on the browser. It will get lost, and all this amount of work will be not usable. But this is more about me becoming a better sculptor. And just like Michael was thanking our kind sponsor, of course, I also want to thank you guys for hanging out with us, for all your questions, for supporting the channel, whether just with views, if there's any patron supporter out there as well, that is very valuable. We just really appreciate that you guys are here, that you guys put nice comments, that you guys put your requests for what you want to see next. We're doing this for you, so it always makes us happy to hear from you.
And thanks for hanging out and being in chat and giving me something to do in the background here.
Yeah, otherwise we would just be probably sleeping and wasting our time.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. I mean, it's nice to sleep, but also I'm talking about the craft and being disciplined and stuff, so I should probably not sleep that much. I love sleeping.
Thanks, Joel. See you again in the near future.
Yeah, see you soon, Joel.
If you guys, again, haven't checked out Joel's channel, that's Sketchy Squirrel. I put a link already. I've lost it, so just scroll up, grab it. Good channel if you like Blender.
Yeah, also, just because I didn't super love Blender Sculpt, it doesn't mean that I don't use Blender or that I think it's a bad software. I will definitely continue using it. There is great things about the software. I just personally didn't really love sculpting there.
And for Michael, who just joined us, good name. This is not fully released on PC. This is only available in the browser, and it is an impermanent version, in the sense that the current session will not be saved going forward.
Yeah. This is also trial, so you don't have all the functions that you would have with a paid Nomad version.
Muchísimas gracias, Diego.
See, nice to have you here, Diego. I look forward to meeting you and your cat. Consulting with a little Adobe for their VR. Oh yeah, I still gotta try some sculpting on VR, but we gotta get the hardware.
Don't look at me, man. It's like literally the worst time to be talking to me about spending money on stuff.
Anyway, time's up. Thank you, guys.
Let's have a look at the sculpt before we go.
Oh, fair enough. I'm used to the touch screen, and then I'm like boop boop, and it's not doing anything. Does it not give me turntable? I don't think it gives me turntable.
Okay, well, just do it with the mouse. So kind of blocked in.
I lost the back.
Yeah, I was going to say it's lost all its volume. But definitely that front eye socket profile and nose is getting there, and it's getting there. But that's sort of have you done a video about sculpting the skull?
Not really. No, I have sculpted skulls before, but I just use it like as a prop to demonstrate tools.
Maybe something that we can investigate in the future.
It's just weird because it's fairly advanced, but at the same time it's worth to go into it even if though you don't know much.
It's a pretty big topic though. Kind of like how that might not necessarily be a YouTube video because it'd be quite long. Would be my guess.
But this part, this is where it needs way more mass. Got my guy here. You can see we need way more volume here. I'm not sure where I lost it there. Probably early on I didn't block it incorrectly. But well, this is learning. Alright. Thank you guys. And we will see you soon. If we don't see you before the holidays, have a lovely, lovely time. Bye!
See you guys.